Using Literature in the Classroom, a didactical lesson design presentation by Maya Esplin. This is a presentation of some ideas of how literature can be used in the classroom. So first of all, I'm going to explain my choice of text, then my pupil class group with the competence aims and specific learning goals. Then I will look at activities and finally conclude, and then I've got my references at the end. Williams, in Bjørktveit and Williams, comments that the Norwegian English curriculum gives teachers the wonderful opportunity of choosing the best, most stimulating, most relevant books to inspire their learners. And I have chosen The Breadwinner by Deborah Ellis. I skimmed through the others on the list and decided that I preferred this one. It is suggested by Colley and Slater that it is important to choose books which are relevant to the life experiences, emotions or dreams of the learner, and one could argue that of all the books on the list, this is the furthest removed from the typical English language learners in a Norwegian classroom. However, in contrast to this, I do feel that this novel can, quoting Colley and Slater again, arouse the learner's interest and provoke strong positive reactions from them. If you were lucky enough to have any students from this part of the world, then it would also enhance the experience for the whole class. This book is the first of a trilogy, so hopefully the students will be inspired to continue the story on their own. On a technical point, in my opinion, this is a relatively short book. And in my copy, which is the Oxford University Press 2014 edition, it is well laid out and the text is reasonably large, making it easy to read. And also when considering differentiation in the classroom and access to resources for all students, it is worth commenting that there is also a graphic novel version of this book. The film has just been released on DVD and it's also available on Netflix. There is the official trailer available on YouTube, which is a good resource for an introductory activity. I have chosen that my fictional class will be a grade 10. These students are a little older than the main character in the book, but I think they should be mature enough to appreciate the cultural context of the book. My competence aims are from the written communication section of the national curriculum. I think they are ideally covered by this literature. These are defined further in the specific learning goals. The activities will include a range of listening and reading exercises to promote an understanding of the novel. The story content is provocative and as such demands that the reader forms an opinion of the situation. Looking at activities, there's an infinite variety of activities that can be conducted in the classroom around literature. In these activities, I will refer to my book in particular, but they can easily be employed for other texts. There's a wealth of suggestions for activities in the course literature. Colley and Slater have good practical examples in there. Day and Bamford only talk about reading, but their article has 10 easy to follow principles when it comes to extensive reading. In my activities, I would like to specifically discuss what Colley and Slater refer to as first encounters, i.e. the first lesson with the book. Both Marley and Day and Bamford provide ideas about extensive reading. Okay, the first encounters. Colley and Slater mentioned that the first imperative is usually to try to draw the learners quickly into the text so that they will find it interesting and want to continue reading on their own. So this first lesson is to launch the book. The teacher will show the front cover of the book and ensure that the students can only see the front cover. And then we'll have some short questions for discussion with their study partner, for example. Examples of questions could be, has anyone read the book or seen the film? In which country is the story set? What does breadwinner mean in English? Who are the Taliban? And an open question could be, what do you think that the book is about? For added engagement in the class, the teacher could make multiple choice questions and the students could answer using plickers. For more information about plickers, you can see the reference page. These basic questions will enable the teacher to pre-assess the student's knowledge so that common ground can be established from the outset. And continuing with launching some first activities, since this book has been made into a film, then there's a short 2-minute trailer for the film available. I think this is a good resource for provoking interest in the book, and suggests that after watching the trailer, then in pairs the students should formulate a question that they wish to be answered about the book. These questions can then be taken care of, and then when we finish the book we can see whether or not they've been answered. I'm not going to show the film now, but you can watch the film if you want to. The next activity I would like to consider is extensive reading. Marley provides an introduction to extensive reading, reflecting that it isn't a new idea, as it has survived the methodological swings and roundabouts of the last 40 years. And he also quotes Dame Bamford from 1998 in mentioning that it is now widely regarded as the single most effective way of acquiring and maintaining a foreign language. Hence, extensive reading is important. We need to encourage our students to read extensively. As an introduction to extensive reading, Marley mentions forms of support. The Oxford University Press 2014 edition has various forms of support that students should be directed towards before they start reading. Initially, we have the layout font and the font size. The font is a good size, and there's plenty of white space on the pages, and hence it doesn't look daunting when they open the book. At the beginning of the book there are some maps, so the children can see actually where Afghanistan is, hence helping to set the scene. And there's also a glossary at the back of the book giving an explanation of some of the sort of particularly special words here. One of the principles with extensive reading is that learners should read as much as possible, and hence the students should be given time to read in the classroom. Reading is individual and silent, another principle, i.e. the teacher doesn't have to talk all the time, and we hope that reading is its own reward. That's another principle. We hope that students will choose to read outside the classroom. Consequently, classroom tasks should not be dependent on the students not knowing the ending of the story. We don't want to discourage them from reading. Another way of encouraging the students to read outside the lesson would be to organise reading circles. This is also discussed by Marley. It suggested that this is one of the most powerful modes for support. These could either be random groups or teacher organised groups. This would mean that the students of a similar level could be grouped. These groups could take it in turns to present their chapter or aspect of the book into the class. And finally, in conclusion, I would like to say the teacher's imagination is the only limiting factor when it comes to activities for using literature in the classroom. Here are my references. And my final point is, at the end of the day, you can always just read the book.